Hey everyone, Win here and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be covering the top 10 things I learned about painting a portrait for 30 hours. If you find yourself that you're new to watercolor or just struggling to find confidence in watercolor, well, I'd love to book a call with you and see if you're a good fit for my program, because I help beginning art students go from zero confidence to total confidence in watercolor, and I'd love to chat with you to see if you're a good fit. All right, so let's get into it. The first thing that I learned about painting this painting for 30 hours is mindset. Okay, mindset matters. So when I first started off this, I wasn't telling myself I cannot paint this painting. Okay, I was not saying to myself there's no chance that I could get to the end of this painting, and why would I even spend 30 hours on it? So like all these questions, nope, I just ignored all of those things and told myself that one day I could accomplish this painting, and that's what I did. So I set out to accomplish this painting. So having the right mindset really helps just to get, in the right thinking space that you can paint a great painting. So environment is the number 2 thing that I would say in order to create a great painting. You need to make sure your environment is really nice. So make sure you have a good table, a chair, maybe a drafting table that has a slant to it so your neck is not constantly leaning over. Make sure that you have good airflow and just good music. So things that are in your environment, your atmosphere. So things that are helping you and not hindering you in the process of creating. So environment is a big one. And make sure that you have a good pad on your chair, because that sitting for long periods of time is pretty rough. The next thing is planning out your composition. So that's number 3. Making sure that you have all the components in the right place. If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. So you want to make sure that you're coming up with compositions that are pleasing to the eye. So I can tell you that I practice a lot. I sketch before I draw, and I also paint before I draw, and not always every idea comes to fruition. So this was one composition that I was coming up with. This is obviously not finished, but I worked many hours on this, but I just felt like it wasn't going in the right direction that I wanted, so I bailed on it. And you may like it. I still like aspects of it, but it's not the same as my other painting, my finished product. So you really want to make sure that you're planning out everything in advance and making sure it looks really nice. Okay, limit your palette. So I used a limited palette, which it was a semi-limited palette. So you could use just 3 colors to paint: red, yellow, and blue, the primary colors. I used about 6 or 7. So I used opera rose for all the reds, and to mix in with orange I used lemon yellow. So lemon yellow with opera rose. I used Payne's gray and permanent green for the background, and I used cerulean blue for the shirt and for the eyes. Just a mixture of those. I used yellow ochre for some of the skin tones and opera rose, and for some of the other ones, let me see here, yellow ochre, and that's about it. Burnt sienna, I used a little bit throughout, and a little bit of burnt sienna down here on the little stool that he's sitting on. And I'm going for likeness and not perfection. This is more of a photorealistic painting, but I'm just trying to go for likeness. I'm not going for total perfection. So you want to keep that mindset as you go and as you're creating your paintings. Don't try to create just the perfect painting. I guess that goes back to mindset as well. And make sure you're layering your colors. So some of these colors I used just one layer, and this is the white just of the Arches 140-pound paper. And so I just used simple layers as I go along. So I may use 1, 2, 3 layers right in here, maybe 4 or 5 layers over here. I make sure that I let each layer dry, and that's why it takes a lot of time for me to paint sometimes, because I'm letting it dry. And oftentimes I would work around in the painting. Number 7, you want to change your water. So making sure you have clear water makes it so you can have really tried and true colors. So you don't want washed out, dirty colors. So each time I'd have to change out my water a few times every half hour even, just to make sure that I have the most pure form of the color. So change out your water. And number 8, move around. So moving around, so I would start in an area over here, and then I would come over here and I would bounce around. And if I had some color, let's say in the lips, that matched some of the color down here, I would kind of jump around. I wouldn't always stay in one place, because watercolor, if you stay in the same place for hours and hours, it's just going to get muddy, and it's not going to have the drying time and the layering time that it takes to create some nice work. Number 9, take breaks. Take as many breaks as you need, every couple hours or half hour. And then sometimes, yes, I even got discouraged sometimes in my paintings, and I would just need to take a break or ask someone for advice or share my art with others. And little plug for my online course, I have a group that we share our artwork within my online course, and that's where we can get a ton of encouragement so we can keep going and keep pursuing the goal of creating a wonderful piece of art. So making sure that you have that encouragement and moral support is big. And the last thing, number 10, is get great at mixing color. And it just so happens I have another YouTube tutorial on mixing color, so I'll link that, and you can see that on the screen here. Make sure that you are great at mixing colors. Mixing colors for the flesh tones, I used yellow ochre, opera rose, lemon yellow, burnt sienna, but just in tiny little bits. So sometimes I'll add a lot of water, other times I'll add more pigment, but as I go along, it really changes throughout. So make sure that you are mixing the right colors and practice. You want to practice all the color mixing you can and getting mileage on your brush. That's how you get better at creating flesh tones and all of the colors that you're trying to match. And make sure you have a good reference. I did a photo shoot, and yes, this is my son. So I did a photo shoot with him, and we tried to find a good light source. So mixing colors from a photograph as opposed to having him sit there for 30 hours, I was able to start to go in and match all the colors. So make sure you have a good reference. So that is my top 10 things I learned for painting for 30 hours on this painting, and I hope this helped you. And as always, don't forget that you can book a call with me, and I'd love to talk with you and strategize how you can get better at watercolor. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in my next video.